Diane Lane's name has been associated with some of the most significant scandals in Hollywood for many years. On-set drama, covert hookups, and affairs with top men rocked the fashion industry. Now that she's speaking up, the shocking reality is revealed. Early years. Diane Lane was born on a cold January morning in 1965 in New York City. Her mother, Colleen Price, was a Playboy centerfold and a glitzy nightclub singer. Burton Eugene Lane, a drama coach who also worked as a taxi driver, and she had a brief romance. Their romance, however, was short. The separation of Diane's parents occurred only 2 weeks after her birth. Colleen filed for divorce and took baby Diane to Mexico in search of a new beginning. For the following 6 years, Diane's life was centered on her mother's colorful yet erratic environment. And then everything was different. They started a new life together after Diane's father was granted custody. Moving from one dilapidated motel to another while navigating the streets of New York was a difficult, itinerant lifestyle. Diane was still a little kid when she frequently followed her dad's taxi routes, giving her a look at the vibrant yet grimy side of the city. Diane, at 15, yearned for independence. In defiance of her father, she boarded a plane to Los Angeles for a week of adventure with her friend, actor Christopher Atkins. Diane subsequently reflected on that impetuous departure and stated it was the type of behavior that occurs when you are granted too much independence too fast. After her return to New York, Diane rented a room to help pay for her stay with a friend's family. In 1981, after completing her coursework via correspondence, she started high school. Life, however, took a different turn. Taking severe measures, Diane's mother was determined to bring her daughter back. Diane was abducted and taken to Georgia by her. After a battle in court, Diane and her father were reunited after a grueling 6 weeks. A scar was left by the ordeal. Diane did not communicate with her mother for 3 years. However, time has a way of mending injuries. After years apart, Diane and her mother eventually reconnected and gradually re-established their friendship. Start of a career and breakthrough. A strong drive to achieve, family, and passion drove Diane Lane's ascent to fame. She had an early interest in performing because of her grandma, Ella Scott. Seeing her grandma enthrall audiences as a Pentecostal preacher with a reputation for stirring sermons ignited something inside Diane. At the age of 6, she made her stage debut at the La Mama Experimental Theater Club in New York. She had a clear route from then on. She was already sharing the stage with Meryl Streep and other celebrities in Joseph Papp's production of The Cherry Orchard by the age of 12. However, she remained dedicated to her studies even as her acting career flourished. At Hunter College High School, she enrolled in an accelerated program, balancing acting and academics. But when I was 13, everything changed. She was forced to make the difficult choice between a role on Broadway and a chance at a movie. Her film choice was A Little Romance, in which she co-starred with Laurence Olivier. Although it was a risk, it was worthwhile. In fact, Olivier referred to her as the next Grace Kelly. Suddenly, her potential had Hollywood talking. Her stardom was obvious when she was featured on the cover of Time magazine. Early in the 1980s was crucial. In addition to playing a disturbed girl in Touched by Love, Diane demonstrated her versatility in Catalani and Little Britches, co-starring with Amanda Plummer. She went so far as to try comedy in Six Pack with Kenny Rogers, but it was her audacious performance in Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains, that made an impression. As the leader of a punk rock band, she demonstrated her fearlessness. However, she cemented her spot in Hollywood with her parts in Francis Ford Coppola's The Outsiders and Rumble Fish. In the midst of future celebrities like Rob Lowe and Tom Cruise, Diane stood out. She wasn't your average actress. She was about to emerge as one of the most talented individuals in the profession. Diane Lane's career took a setback despite her growing popularity. She decided to take a break from acting after Streets of Fire and The Cotton Club didn't do well. She went back to Georgia in order to get back in touch with her mother. It was a healing period. We needed to mend our connection because I wanted my mother back, as she subsequently stated. Roles in Lady Beware and The Big Town marked the beginning of Diane's comeback, but the 1989 miniseries Lonesome Dove was the show that really rekindled her career. She received an Emmy nomination for her performance. Even though she lost the lead in Pretty Woman by a slim margin, she continued to pursue her goals. As Paulette Goddard in Chaplin and in movies like My New Gun, she continued to garner recognition. By the late 1990s, Diane had returned to her former prominence. Her performance in A Walk on the Moon in 1999 was hailed as incredibly powerful. Alongside Liev Schreiber and Viggo Mortensen, she portrayed a lady divided between duty and love. Because of her captivating performance, she was nominated for an Independent Spirit Award for Best Female Lead. Diane wasn't merely returning to life. Unfaithful and receiving more praise, she was regaining her position in Hollywood. The early 2000s saw a combination of passion, depth, and versatility in Diane Lane's career. She continued to push herself, repeatedly winning over crowds. She started to really display her variety in 2000. She provided warmth and strength as Mark Wahlberg's character's emotional fulcrum in The Perfect Storm. She took a different approach in My Dog Skip, portraying a devoted and chatty mom. She gave both parts a genuine, relatable feel despite their differences. Was having success by the next year. She portrayed nuanced characters in the uplifting baseball movie Hardball and the psychological thriller The Glass House. However, 2002 was a watershed year. Everything changed when she starred in Unfaithful. Diane's raw, powerful performance as a suburban housewife caught up in a passionate affair garnered her a nomination for an Academy Award. Entertainment Weekly's Owen Gleiberman was among the critics who hailed her performance as a stunner. After cheating, Diane continued to make an impression. She received yet another nomination for a Golden Globe for her performance as a lady reconstructing her life in Under the Tuscan Sun. With parts in movies like Hollywoodland, Must Love Dogs, and Nights in Rodanthe, she seamlessly transitioned between genres over the years. Even after her fame, she still wanted more difficult parts and even considered quitting acting. But she found new motivation after a 2-year hiatus. She played Penny Chenery, a determined character in Secretariat, displaying her fortitude and tenacity. She then once more dazzled audiences in 2011 when she starred in HBO's film Verite. It was more than just acting in Diane's path. Using her position to promote women's rights globally, she provided her voice to the Half the Sky PBS documentary in 2012. She wasn't only a movie star. She advocated for change. Career and return to theater later. Diane Lane explored a new realm after film Verite, the DC Comics universe. She played the devoted mother of Superman, Martha Kent, in Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. Snyder said Diane encapsulated the wisdom and awe of a mother whose son possessed unfathomable powers, and he appreciated how she depicted the complexities of a mother juggling the extraordinary. The audiences also sensed it. In the DC film universe, Martha Kent became a beloved character thanks to her portrayal. In Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Justice League, Diane played the same role again, solidifying her position in the franchise. After Man of Steel's triumph, Diane was prepared for yet another ambitious endeavor. In the Hillary miniseries on NBC, she was supposed to play Hillary Clinton. However, before it even aired, the show was cancelled due to criticism. Diane, however, didn't think about it. She went on to act in the 2015 thriller Every Secret Thing and provide the voiceover for the Pixar blockbuster Inside Out. She co-starred with Bryan Cranston and Helen Mirren in Trumbo later that year, and the film earned her a nomination for Best Ensemble Cast from the Screen Actors Guild. In 2017, Diane demonstrated her adaptability. She made a comeback as Martha Kent in Justice League, but she also starred in Mark Felt, The Man Who Brought Down the White House, and Paris Can Wait. She has demonstrated her talent on television, landing notable parts in Netflix's House of Cards and The Romanovs. The momentum carried on. She enthralled audiences with Kevin Costner in the popular film Let Him Go in 2020. While the pandemic was going on, she reconnected with Meryl Streep in Extrapolations 3 years later. The following year, she was nominated for a Primetime Emmy for her outstanding performance in Feud, Capote vs. The Swans. Diane voiced a part in Inside Out 2 as she continued to broaden her horizons. She once again demonstrated her versatility and resilience, continually coming up with fresh ways to shine. Love affair rumors involving co-stars. Emilio Estevez. Diane Lane and Emilio Estevez were two up-and-coming celebrities in the 1980s, when films were all about lofty goals and much more extravagant haircuts. St. Elmo's Fire, a movie about friendship, love, and the challenges of growing up, is where they first met. For Emilio and Diane, however, it went beyond mere acting. After their brief on-screen romance, they were enmeshed in a flurry of romance. It resembled the ideal Hollywood romance. It didn't endure, though, like many Tinseltown loves. Eventually, they parted ways. Their breakup, however, was friendly, in contrast to many others. Even after the romance faded, they remained friends, demonstrating that some relationships endure. Dear Richard. In the 2002 thriller Unfaithful, Diane Lane and Richard Gere commanded the screen. They portrayed a married couple whose marriage breaks down due to adultery. There were whispers of a relationship behind the scenes because of how well they chemistryed on television. Their screen-sharing experience was not new, though. In 1984, almost 20 years prior, they co-starred in the jazz-era movie The Cotton Club. Their relationship started there and would reappear in Unfaithful years later. They had developed a stronger working relationship by the time they got back together for Unfaithful. Mutual appreciation and respect served as its foundation. Gere was the spouse who was caught off guard, while Lane was the restless wife involved in a passionate romance. Suffering from betrayal. Their unvarnished, intricate performances captivated spectators. They gracefully navigated their sequences, bringing to life the powerful feelings of remorse, sorrow, and love. Diane remained unambiguous despite their intense on-screen relationship. Their relationship was solely for work. Their years of collaboration had created a synergy that made everything seem so effortless. Although there was a lot of drama in Unfaithful, it was just two buddies who were committed to their craft off-screen. Their magic was not the reality, rather, it was a part of the fiction. And that's why it was so interesting to see. Kevin McConaughey. In 2019, Matthew McConaughey and Diane Lane collaborated on the suspenseful film Serenity. Their on-screen relationship was tense, mysterious, and electrifying. Off-screen, however, there was a surprising turn. McConaughey acknowledged having a boyhood crush on Lane while filming. Their chemistry was enhanced by the entertaining secret. It wasn't simply acting, all of a sudden. Their scenes were made a little cozier by the nostalgic thread and personal connection. In the movie, they portrayed ex-lovers who meet again in an odd way. Their scenes felt more authentic because of their background in the narrative and McConaughey's confession from real life. You could feel the familiarity, the emotion, and the tension like two people who were previously very important to one another but now had to negotiate difficult situations. In spite of his lighthearted statement, Lane quickly clarified that their connection remained business. Respect and appreciation for one another's craft were the main themes. However, McConaughey's small admission gave their partnership a unique vibe, as if life had thrown a curveball into the equation, bringing a little something more to their bond. Robert Duvall. Diane Lane and Robert Duvall co-starred in the popular television miniseries Lonesome Dove in 1989, which was adapted from the well-loved book. Lane portrayed the strong, tenacious Lorena Wood, and Duvall played the endearing former Texas Ranger Augustus Gus McCrae. Rumors of an off-screen romance began when their on-screen chemistry became evident. However, Lane was quick to cut them off, often stating that professionalism and respect were the foundation of their relationship. Their stirring performances made Lonesome Dove come to life. More than just a story, it seemed. It had the feel of an actual trip through the Old West. Because Lane and Duvall brought their characters to life, the audience was immersed in a genuine and unvarnished universe. There was nothing romantic about the rumors. They were genuinely united by their dedication to the mission. They both wanted to create the greatest movie they could. Because of that collaboration and commitment, Lonesome Dove became a timeless masterpiece. Christopher Atkins. Diane Lane met Christopher Atkins when she was a young woman filming The Outsiders in 1983. Despite playing a tiny part, Atkins and the other actors developed a close bond on set that swiftly developed into a love affair. Lane remembers the youthful love they shared and has nostalgically reflected on those times. She plays the role of Cherry Valance in the film. A girl who unexpectedly becomes close to Curtis, a pony boy. Even though Atkins wasn't a major character, he had a genuine and deep bond with Lane behind the scenes. For young performers, it served as a reminder that their personal relationships might occasionally outshine their profession. Lane still remembers their brief affair with fondness. It was a beautiful, straightforward chapter in her mind. During the beginning of her Hollywood career, a memory she cherishes. Matt Dillon. Rewind to The Outsiders, which debuted one of the most recognizable on-screen couples of the 1980s, Diane Lane and Matt Dillon. Lane played the shrewd, morally upright girl stuck between two worlds, Cherry Valance, while Dillon played the rugged, rebellious Dallas Winston. The film's narrative of class struggle and wayward adolescence was enhanced by their electrifying chemistry. When the cameras stopped rolling, however, their relationship continued. Their professional relationship briefly turned into a romance behind the scenes. For Lane, who was just beginning her career, this partnership presented new difficulties. Particularly for someone so young, the whirlwind of gossip and media attention was debilitating. She has been candid about it, though, explaining how they ended their relationship amicably in spite of the circumstances. There was more to their off-screen relationship than a Hollywood romance. It occurred during a crucial period in Lane's life. It gave her experience in The Outsiders, as well as her path to stardom and young adulthood, a more realistic touch. This short scene with Dylan is an intriguing but little-known aspect of Lane's personal narrative as well as the legacy of The Outsiders. Canon Danny. A little-known misconception about Diane Lane's time on the Judge Dredd set needs to be dispelled. Similar to Sylvester Stallone's legendary Judge Dredd in every scene, she portrayed the strong and resolute Judge Hershey in the 1995 sci-fi action movie. Their characters on television had a lot of connection and bounced off one another during tight and gritty scenes. The story, however, was different behind the scenes. Lane's attention was not drawn to Stallone. It was Danny Cannon who directed the movie. A brief romance that remained almost unnoticed occurred between Lane and Cannon during the production. They maintained a cordial relationship despite its brief duration, even appearing together at a few public gatherings. Lane's journey gains depth from this brief but fascinating chapter, which demonstrates how her personal and professional lives occasionally merged in surprising ways. It serves as a reminder that the backstage tales can be just as captivating as the ones we see on television, helping to shape her life and career in the mid-1990s. The first time Nicolas Cage, Diane Lane, and Nicolas Cage met was on the set of Rumblefish in 1984. Early in his career, Cage had the benefit of collaborating with his uncle, the renowned filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola. While filming, Lane, who was also gaining popularity, forged a friendship with Cage that would subtly deepen over time. Now fast forward to the year 2000. Then they were brought back together on the set of The Family Man, where their bond grew stronger and they briefly fell in love. Despite their relationship off-screen, they maintained their professionalism, making sure it never impacted their on-set interaction. In his candid remarks, Lane has stated that their relationship has never interfered with their long-standing friendship or their ability to do their jobs. Diane Lane, now 59, reflects on her path with openness and dignity. Over the years, she has been the target of rumors, which she has never avoided. Her life has been just as fascinating off-screen as it has been on-screen, with 2 marriages and a kid. But despite all the rumors and conjecture, one thing has stayed the same: her career. It's evidence of her timeless charm and talent. One can only speculate as to whether or not more rumors concerning her romantic life may arise in the future. But one thing is for sure. As always, we shall be enthralled by Diane Lane's elegance, beauty, and genius.